real estate over there and hustle over here.
Introduced me to one of my good friends is my real estate partner. His name is Tony. And basically Tony would just sit me down and explain to me how the deals work and how to get the deals done and what kind of credit you need and all those things. So I started small, of course, and I just started to add on to that. So I started residential, and then I got to commercial, and now I'm buying multifamily.
All right, so welcome back to the Uninvited House Guest Podcast. I'm your host, Tony. I'm joined on the couch today by none other than Miss Ashley Jeffers. She is an HBCU grad, real estate investor, kind of literally has a little wealth of knowledge. So I'm glad to have her here today. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, first, thank you, Tony, for having me on the podcast. This is my first podcast interview, so this is exciting. So I appreciate you inviting me to your platform. I am a Greensboro native, so born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. Proud alumni of North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. And for the past 5 years, I have been a real estate investor. So I still work a W-2, but I have been buying rental properties. And now I'm to the point where I want to teach others how to build a cash flowing rental portfolio. So it's been a good run, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my part in teaching others how to do the same.
That's what's up. It's definitely, once you learn it, it's something you definitely want to give back. That's the reason why I'm actually a realtor myself. So to that point, though, has real estate been a thing that's been in your family? Like, did your parents own home, or kind of what's your inspiration for home ownership, I guess, first before you even got to investing?
So my parents, to my knowledge, they did not own property. The motivation to become a homeowner came out of necessity for my sanity. So when I moved to Charlotte back in 2007, that first year that I was here, I stayed in an apartment. And that was my first time staying in an apartment and my last. Like, it was not it was not a good situation. I'm on the second level, so there's like noise above me. When you go outside, there's like people in the parking lot. There's like noise everywhere. And I'm like, I can't live like this. So I just happened to be reading a publication, Creative Loafing. If you're a Charlotte native, you recognize that publication from back in the day.
CO.
And there was a ad for townhomes for sale. And so I called the only person that I knew that owned a home, and that was my Uncle John. So I called him and said, hey, there's this ad in this newspaper, and it's talking about they're selling townhomes. And I'm like, should I buy a townhome? Should I buy a house? And he was like, absolutely. So that's what started me down the path of home ownership. So in 2008, after my lease was up on the apartment, I bought a townhome in University area.
Okay. 2008, that's a kind of few years back now. Equity would be crazy. I'm assuming you still own this. Do you own this?
I still own it. It is tenant occupied, cash flowing today. I think the mortgage is like $705 a month. So, yeah, wild. So yeah, we're gonna keep that one and continue to cash flow and let the good times roll with that one for sure.
That's what. Just listen to that, folks. So in 2008, basically fresh out of college, you went directly into home ownership, which is one just to give it up for her. Let's get a round of applause going. But yeah, that's crazy, man. That's definitely, you've seen the opportunity. Obviously, you had some discomfort where you were living, so it makes it easy to look for other alternatives.
Right.
But definitely kudos to you. You obviously still have it cash flowing. Obviously, it's hard not to cash flow if you bought it in 2008. The real estate market at the time was crazy.
Yeah.
With Lehman Brothers and all that other stuff that was going on.
Meltdown.
So I mean, I'm assuming. Well, you said your lease was up. You moved in May, so technically it would have been right in the thick of things. As things were changing. But I would say even then it was, I can say, easier to get a house. The laws hadn't changed to where it was a lot of like red tape, where it is now, where they want your firstborn, basically.
Yeah, for sure. So at that time, it was really easy to get into property. I remember Obama was doing some type of incentive where they were trying to stimulate the housing market. And so there was like a $7,500 tax incentive. Like, we'll send you the $7,500 to help you buy this property. And you pay us back $500 a year out of your tax refund every year until you pay it back. And so I took advantage of that. And for some reason, the townhomes, the market slowed. So the that I bought, I think previous year or two, it was like 130, 140, but I bought it for like 117.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
This is a win. This is why we
sure.
do home ownership, you guys. It's again a lot of benefits. She already kind of talked about is obviously tax benefits. She talked about obviously just making a better situation for herself, and now years later, how she's able to use an investment. That's crazy. That's literally why we do the thing.
yeah.
So let's go down that. So you say you got into real estate investment about 5 years ago. What was your first real estate investment that you went into?
Yeah. So 5 years ago, I started searching the internet, searching for ways to make money, searching for ways to build wealth. And in that search, whether it was a YouTube video or listening to a podcast or buying a book, reading a book, everyone is familiar with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book too, and it changed my whole perspective on building wealth and cash flow. I think one of the things that stood out to me was that if you don't figure out how to make money while you sleep, you'll work the rest of your life. So all motivating factors when it came to I really need to get serious about this real estate investing thing. And so one gentleman that was all over the internet back in 2018, like everywhere, Max Maxwell. And he became known because he was teaching everyone how to wholesale real estate. And the whole sale was you can get into real estate with no money and no credit. And I was like, oh, well, that's me. I ain't got no money or good credit. So, yeah, let's try this. And so started down the path of learning how to wholesale real estate. And fast forward 14 months later, I did my first wholesale deal. And it did take forever to get to that first deal, but I'm glad I stuck it out because that deal has led to multiple deals since then. And one of the reasons I stuck it out was I was at a meetup of Max Maxwell's, and he said, look to your right and look to your left. He was like, this time next year, one of y'all is not going to be here doing this. And I'm super competitive, and I'm super, like, determined if I start a thing, then I'm going to finish the thing.
Yeah.
And so it took me 14 months, but I got it done. I made a $6,000 wholesale fee, and that was amazing. And then after that, maybe 3 months later, I did another deal. That was about $1,500, but I still felt like I was like flailing, you know, like just kind of floating along and kind of really not, I don't have any direction in this thing, and I don't feel like I'm heading down the path that I read about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like, where's the real estate portfolio that generates all this income? Like, where's the monthly checks? So I ended up seeing someone on Facebook, and had an exchange with him and direct messenger on Facebook because he had listed a property that he had renovated and sold or one of his real estate deals. So I reached out to him and said, hey, this is what I can offer. I look for deals. I can bring you deals. And I'm hoping that you'll mentor me. And so that was 2021. When I got that mentor, that changed the game for me. Like, that changed my whole trajectory of real estate investing. So within that same year, he helped me buy 2 properties.
Wow.
And so from those 2 properties, I now own, fast forward today, 6 single family homes, 2 single wide mobile homes that cash flow for me. And I have 2 properties under contract currently that I'll close the first week in February. And those will be communal, you may have heard of co-living or room sharing properties. So moving right along.
That's dope. So let's go back a little bit real quick.
Okay.
So you said you start off wholesaling. Could you tell people what wholesaling is exactly?
Yes. So wholesaling is when the wholesaler brings a seller and buyer together in a transaction, essentially. So, for example, if I'm the wholesaler in this scenario, Tony is the seller of a property, I have a list of cash buyers or investors that they're looking for properties that they can fix up and flip, or they can fix up and hold, rent out, and cash flow month after month. So my job as the wholesaler to find sellers like Tony that more often than not, what we're looking for is sellers that have problems. So they're in pre-foreclosure, they have tax lien on their property, they have code violations. Maybe it's a divorce situation and the divorce decree says you have to sell this property and split the proceeds between the two of you. So I do my marketing. I find Tony through my marketing, and marketing could be cold calling, it could be text messaging, it could be direct mail. There's a number of ways to reach out to potential sellers. Right. And I say, Tony, Mr. Seller, I would like to make you an offer for $100,000 on your property. Now, I've done my homework, and I know in his neighborhood, in his area, that properties similar to his are selling for $160,000. So I say, I can offer you $100,000. And then I go to my investor list, cash buyer list, and say, hey, I've got this property under contract. I can sell it to you for $110,000. And so that spread in between the $100,000 that I have to make sure Mr. Seller gets and what I sell the contract for is a $10,000 spread. That's what I take home. That's what I put in my pocket. So wholesaling is really just contract law. People want to make it seem like it's a bit more sinister and, you're not an agent, so wholesaling is against the law. Well, I never took ownership of his property. I never told him that I was going to buy it. I just said that I can get you $100,000.
Fair enough.
So once they sign off on that purchase agreement, I then take that agreement. Cash buyer's like, yeah, I'll buy it from you from 110 because I know once I fix it up, I can sell it for 160, 170. So seller gets what they were promised. Yep. Investor gets what they're looking for, a property to fix and flip or fix and hold. And then I walk off with a $10,000 wholesale fee. And all of this is done on actual legal agreements that get submitted to an attorney. Nobody's doing any back alley type, under the table, writing up contracts on a napkin. No, these are actual legal documents that are submitted to closing attorney who does a title search and brings both parties to the table, maybe at the same time, probably not, but at different times at some point. Seller signs off on selling the property. Investor signs off on buying the property. There is an exchange of ownership that gets recorded with the courts in the area where the house is located, and then we move on to the next deal, and everybody's happy.
Sounds pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So you also mentioned that you were going to a real estate meetup. Shout out to Max. He's one of my guys I look up to because he actually has a plane and he flies across the world. And I wanted to be a pilot growing up, so I love that about him.
Yeah,
but
very cool.
Again, so you were close to Max, which obviously is he's blown up like crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But you were going to meetups. So for people who don't know, obviously meetups are just like any other places, networking. Obviously that goes on, but this is specific to people who want to be in real estate.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you, find out about the meetup, and then how do you still kind of do meetups? What does that look like for you?
So in the beginning of my journey, not as far as going out and getting a unit, purchasing a property or getting an apartment unit. I was crazy enough to rent out a room in my house. Okay. And I was like, I don't know these people, so every time I would get a booking, I would go stay with my best friend because I'm not staying in here with you because I don't know you. Okay. But it was a good 4 or 5 month run. I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I guess at the time, it was starting to heat up, starting to get a little bit more popular, and I was like, well, let me see what I can do. Fair. So I probably did about 10 bookings and maintained a 5-star rating. Okay. So I got enough of it to know that that's not something that I want to continue.
Fair enough.
No.
Any crazy Airbnb stories?
No. Nothing. I mean, thank God nobody was crazy or tried to off me. No, nobody was, overly messy or dirty. They didn't do damage. So the townhouse is in university area. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of younger people that were coming to visit their friends that go to UNC Charlotte. Yeah. Or I had maybe slightly older people, 25 to 30, that were coming in to run a 5K, half marathon. Yeah. I had a couple clients that did that. or people that were in town for business and just needed to be around for the weekend and then leave out after that. So it was a good short stint.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I always tell people Airbnb is a very unique experience. But when you live there, it also it's different than if it was just a full house or apartment as for somebody, right?
Right.
So you have typically less issues because you live there. People are just more respectful because you live there, so to speak, for the most part.
Yeah.
My house is here, but for the most part, it's an easier situation than, oh, you're not here. Again, I see videos and pictures all the time of like, they did what? So, but again, when you live there, it's a little more different. They see you, they know they're gonna see you too. So it's a little different.
Yeah. They saw me sometimes, but for the most part, I was already gone by the time that they got there. So I gave them remote access, very clear on instructions on how to, get into the home, where their room is located, what they have access to as far as the kitchen is concerned, making sure, bathroom is stocked, linens are clean and in place for their stay, turning that over. And that's the part that I got over very quickly is I didn't have a short-term rental manager in place.
Yeah.
So it's me washing sheets. It's me cleaning bathrooms. Like, what do I look like? Like, I don't know why I didn't think this all the way through. I just saw the money aspect,
Right.
which was cool.
Yeah.
It was decent, but not enough for me to keep doing that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Again, you gotta try it, see if it's for you, and then kind of move on.
A little experiment.
So, again, so now communal living. That's the new thing, I guess, people are doing. You can explain, I guess, probably in better detail than I can. But essentially, there's people, it's like, think of college, right? You and your roommate, y'all each are on a lease, right? And you kind of pay the rent. If either one is not, your rent is not tied to that person, so to speak. So everybody had kind of pay their own fair share. You have, living area that everyone kind of accesses, but you are really leased to your room, essentially, right? So,
Yeah.
Sort of that way. But go ahead, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to, when you start investing, go ahead and get those first 5 single-family homes. That will give you solid experience. That also helps you increase the number of lenders that will work with you. You go to a hard money lender and say, hey, look, I'm trying to buy this property over here. You can see I already have a portfolio of at least 5. So you can show that experience, and that helps them feel more comfortable with lending money to you for the next property. So I went, got the 5, and then I decided to test out this communal living strategy, this room rental business model. There's a gentleman, shout out Jay Parker, here in Charlotte. He is the godfather of communal living. He has taught me a lot, as well as a lot of other room rental investors in the city. We've learned a lot from him. So grateful for his teachings and all he does for investors in the city of Charlotte and beyond. So went to several, Jay Parker meetups back in the day, and he's talking about, why would you keep buying traditional rentals where you can only cash flow, at best $400 or $500 a month after expenses. And he's like, with a communal, so here's a business model. With a communal, think of a split level or a ranch. If you've got 4 or 5 rooms and you are able to rent out each of those rooms for, say, I don't know, $250 a week, multiply that times 4 or 5. Like, if you're not pulling down at least $2,500 after expenses on this single family home, something's not going right.
Right.
So that's my target, is to be able to, from one door, rent out the rooms and be able to pull down $2,500 a month.
Okay.
So I tried it for the first time last year, and I decided I wanted to self-manage first, just so I could see how this business model would work. What types of tenants are looking for this type of place to live?
Right.
What do they ask for? What problems do they have? So there's no secret that in the city of Charlotte and beyond, across the country, there's an affordable housing crisis.
Absolutely.
Working people cannot afford a decent place to live. And the government is just not doing enough. They're not moving fast enough. So you have people in situations where they work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. They make a living wage. Well, it was a living wage years ago, not so much today. Um, Tax-paying citizens cannot afford a one-bedroom apartment in the city. I think the last time I checked, like a studio in Charlotte was like $1,750 a month.
Sure is.
And that doesn't even include utilities. It doesn't include furniture or any of the other things that go with when you go and get an apartment. So it just started to make sense. Like, as entrepreneurs, real estate investors, our main focus should be to solve problems. Solve problems, the money will come. And so the problem that we're solving when we're renting out these rooms is that the alternative for this individual is staying at a extended stay motel or a microtel or whatever weekly motel is available in the city and paying $400 or $500 a month. Like, I literally get calls from people that are like, "Do you have any rooms available? Because I can't keep paying $400 or $500 a month."
Right.
So the things that Jay Parker taught me was, you want to provide amenities that make these room rentals stand out and make them something that people want to live in for longer than 3 or 4 months.
Right.
And so we have housekeeping that goes in every 2 weeks and cleans the common areas. So that would be the kitchen, the living room, the laundry room, and the shared bathroom.
Okay.
So some of the rooms, they have their own private bathroom inside the room. You're going to pay a little bit more each week for those. And then you have some rooms that will share a bathroom. And so housekeeping comes in every 2 weeks, hits that shared bathroom and then the other common areas. So housekeeping is included, utilities are included, and the rooms come fully furnished. And so my approach to my room rental company is, it may not be designed like your upper echelon Airbnb where there's like design elements all over the place, like accent walls and, amazing looking furniture. But it's going to be like just a step below.
Okay.
Right. So I have an accent wall, so I got a little something in the living room, in my communal, and, but each room furnished. All the furniture comes from Amazon. We're talking full-size bed. The linens come with that. Pillows come with that. Mini fridges in the room. Flat screen TV is mounted on the wall. Okay. So the utilities are included. Internet is included. Free laundry on site. Free parking. So it's really an over delivery, right? For the money. And so it's like, okay, I can check the box. I did the first one. So this is the first time I've shared this publicly. So you get the exclusive, Tony.
Here we go.
Yeah. So my goal for
Go ahead.
my goal for this year, 2024, is to buy 20 communals.
20 communals.
20 of them.
Okay.
So me and my realtor, shout out Key Ardrey, with Keller Williams. He's like, because I was like, Key, the goal this year is to get 4. He's like, 4? We're going to get 20. Oh, okay then. So
there it is.
I have been working for weeks to make sure I'm prepared to take on 20 properties where on average there's 4 to 5 rooms of property. That starts to add up the number
Quickly.
of clients that you have. But my phone rings every day. I had to turn off my marketing because I was like, my phone won't stop ringing. The emails won't stop coming of people that need an affordable place to live.
That's a good problem to have, folks.
It's a good problem to have, but it's sad at the same time because the city's not doing enough. They can't move fast enough. So it's like, okay, well, if the city can't come up with a solve, and that's, local government, federal government isn't coming up with a solution fast enough. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is a niche in real estate investing that I can not only make good money on, but I can also address a serious need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Again, problem solving is important as entrepreneurs in general. But again, we talk about real estate, right? She talked about your why earlier, right? It definitely has to be bigger than you, bigger than wanting money, for you to continue to get doors, she said. So definitely, again, this has been an awesome conversation so far. Again, I also know that you are a teacher this real estate world, right? You again are looking to bring the next future Ashley along, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
how what does that look like?
Yeah. So I think it is my responsibility to teach as many people as I can how to invest in real estate because it is just a total game changer for us as individuals and for our families and for the generations that will come after us.
Okay.
And so I'm comfortable enough in my experience that I am sure that I can teach someone how to get from 0 properties to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and beyond. And so I was just talking to my business coach today about building out my mentorship program. So that'll be kicking off pretty soon. I don't know when this will air, so this might air before or after my in-person event on January.
After.
It'll be after. Okay. So when you guys see this, I will have had an in-person event at TD Bank. The name of the event is the business of real estate investing, and so I partnered with a good homegirl of mine. Shout out Brandy Fox. She is a startup expert and business consultant. And so we've partnered on having an event where I'm not only teaching the importance of having working capital in real estate investing, but Brandy is bringing the importance of setting up your business foundation, like setting up your business properly.
Right.
Having an LLC, having an EIN number, having a business bank account. And then our banking partner, TD Bank, will be sharing their products and services that they have available for small business owners. So the business credit cards, the business line of credit, those are clutch when it comes to being able to comfortably invest in property.
Right.
And so the more working capital you have, the better. Yeah. So excited about that upcoming event. Excited about the mentorship program that is currently being built out. If you're interested in learning more about the mentorship program, you can go to www.equityandflowprogram.com. That's equityandflowprogram.com. It's a waiting list for my mentorship program. And so we'll be kicking that mentorship program. Launch will probably be closer to March. I wish it was sooner, but we want to bring a solid program. We want to bring some value add education to individuals so that they can change their current financial position, but future financial positioning for generations after them. Okay. So we're wanting to bring like some really solid content when it comes to the educational side.
Okay, solid. So I feel like we covered everything that's in her toolbox. I feel like it might be something I'm missing. But what I want to ask is, if you had to start over, what would you do differently?
I'd try to go get that mentor first.
Okay.
The mentorship is clutch. I mean, again, you don't know what you don't know. And to be able to benefit off of someone's experience that they had years before you even thought about getting into the game is priceless. So when I met Chris, at that time, he probably had $7 million in assets, and that was 3 years ago. So no telling how many millions he has in real estate and cash from the other various businesses that he has. Not only, so I kind of follow in his footsteps. He not only is a real estate investor, but he has a property management company and he has a home renovation company. So when he's not making money from real estate, he's making money from the property management and renovating properties for other investors.
Right.
So I have a home renovation company, and I don't have a property management company yet, but it's on the way.
Right.
Another exclusive. There is no such thing that I know of, property management company that caters to the room rental business model, because that takes a special skill set.
Right.
Because you're not only managing property, you're managing people. Yeah. So co-living setups are similar to, you kind of mentioned it earlier, similar to like college dorms. Mm-hmm. There's conflict amongst people who live in close spaces. So you might get that call. It's like, yo, I can't take it anymore. You need to talk to her about X, Y, and Z. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. I got a call a few months ago. Young lady was not being as clean as she should have been in the bathroom, as far as cleaning up behind herself in the shared bathroom, not cleaning up behind herself in the kitchen, and the roommates was fed up. So when they're onboarded, the community rules, it states there, and we have a verbal conversation to say, hey, don't look to us first to solve conflict and to come in and mediate. Right. We're looking for mature adults to be able to have a conversation.
Right.
So one of the interview questions is, if your roommate continues to leave dirty dishes in the sink and that's getting on your nerves, what do you do in that situation? And I want to hear what their answer is, because if they're like, yo, I'm going to get the burner out the glove compartment, then it's not going to be a good fit, right? But
Fair
if
enough.
you have someone who's like, oh, well, no, so you should have a conversation with that person.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to communicate your concerns, communicate what's bothering you, and see if you can't come up with a resolution.
For sure.
So that's the kind of answer we want to hear.
Okay.
And so it's a very close to people type of business,
Right.
but it's a rewarding one.
For sure.
So my first tenant that I onboarded, I got her settled, she got moved in, okay, and she sent me a message asking for something related to looking for something in the house, and so I addressed that, and then she said, I just want to let you know that you're doing the Lord's work. And that's very powerful, because had she not found this room, she would still be in an uncomfortable situation, bunking it out on her friend's couch in a small apartment.
Right.
Like, we're grown-ups.
Yeah.
Like, that's uncomfortable for all parties involved.
Right.
It's not sustainable. So in this situation, she has her own space. She can come and go as she pleases. She don't have to, be considerate of anybody else inside of her room.
Right.
Now, be considerate of your roommates outside of your room, because you're still sharing one roof. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to personal space, you have it. And that's, peace.
Key.
We all want peace. We
sure.
don't want the conflict. We don't want the static in life. So that was powerful for her to share that I was doing the Lord's work. I didn't really see it that way, but I could see it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be couch surfing, At some point, you're just trying to find a place to settle down and be able to call home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going to, I guess, start wrap up. You already kind of alluded to one of your goals. So I typically ask people what's something that we can look back in the episode and say that you went out and did it. But you already told us you're about to get 20 this year. So is there anything else you want to drop on us that you are going to do?
Is that not enough, Tony? Is that not enough? Go buy 20 houses in 1 year?
I mean, it sounds very attainable. Like, I felt the energy in the room today.
Oh, did you?
I just know it's obtainable. So that's already done.
Okay.
So anything else you want to drop?
I received that. Yeah, so
no pressure.
No pressure. So yeah, it's the obtaining the 20 properties this year, and giving more people clean, safe, affordable places to live. And it's also the teaching part. It's also the educational piece, because once you learn how to evaluate a deal, you have that information for the rest of your life. Once you learn how the model that you should use over and over and over again to tell you the maximum amount that you can pay for a property, that's priceless information, because again, you can use it over and over and over again.
For sure.
So that's what I'm looking forward to, is helping as many people as I can. I haven't really put a number on, this is the number of people I want to bring through my mentorship program. So I'll just leave it open-ended there, just help as many people as I can get that first property this year, and then keep growing from there.
Okay. Well, again, she said it here. It's going to happen, folks. We're going to watch this in a year and just know it all came true. So definitely appreciate you for saying that. Also give my guests an opportunity to ask me any questions they may have. So is there anything on your heart you want to ask me?
Oh, wow. Okay. Put Tony in the hot seat. Tony I know you're a real estate agent.
I am.
Do you own real estate property?
I do.
You do?
I feel it's important to own real estate.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
That's how I personally feel.
I love that.
Long story, but make it very short. The reason I'm a realtor today is because my realtor that I had, I felt like did a terrible job.
Oh.
So I was fueled by the passion of what happened to me. I didn't want to happen to anybody else, and that's how I ended up becoming a realtor years later. But
Great motivation.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so that was I thought I was going to put you in the hot seat with that one because I meet a lot of realtors that help clients buy and sell millions of property, millions of dollars in property year after year, but they don't own any property other than their primary residence, which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
home ownership is great, period. You own one, awesome. But I meet, more often than not, I meet agents that they're not even looking to invest in property. And I have my theory on why that is. But I'm glad to know that you own some property.
it's crazy to me because again, you see the deals first. Like you see, like outside of probably wholesaling, you see the deals first. Like
Right.
you literally see it all. Even what's happening in the communities. Like you see what's happening in the neighborhoods. Like Betty's Ford is changing like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, but if you drive down there, like you seen the small changes happening before it happened, right? But like I said, it's just all over Charlotte. But like I said, you notice those things. You see the sales. You know what's happening. You can probably tell people a lot of stuff just because you're just walking through. It's like if you worked at a hospital, oh yeah, a lot of people are sick because it's flu time. You know that because you work there, right? So it's no different in real estate. You see things happening because you're around it all the time. Oh, it's construction going over here. Cool. Oh, it's by this company. Literally, you have the information and you don't have to think about it.
Right.
So I don't understand how you could do that, like personally. So,
I agree.
but great question.
So last question. What are some of your goals for 2024?
2024.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a solo agent this year.
Okay.
So that's kind of one thing. So just growing out that brand. I've also got a license last year to teach real estate to new real estate people who want to be in real estate.
Okay.
So be doing that and also continue education. So I'll be teaching this year. So that's gonna be fun. Outside of that, I'm looking to actually get some more stuff in my portfolio. So I might have to lean on your shoulder
Yeah.
and figure out what y'all doing so I can do it
Come
the way
on.
y'all doing it because
Yeah.
it sounds really, really great. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so those are two big things: is be a great solo agent this year, teach some CE classes for sure, and then grow my real estate portfolio.
Solid goals. Love it. Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Uninvited House Guests. Had Ashley on the couch today in the Get Right Then Studios. Been an awesome episode. A lot of gems. So basically get your notepad, get your pen out, get your paper out, make sure you just write, and then listen to it again, do it again. In addition to that, can you tell us your socials if you want people to follow you somewhere?
Sure. Instagram is Ash the Preneur. Facebook, Ashley D. Jeffers. I'm not on really any other socials. I'm about to take a spin on Fanbase. I don't know if you guys have heard of Fanbase, but Black-owned social media platform. So looks interesting. They've got some features that's like, oh, okay, this is different. So Ash the Preneur on Fanbase as well, and Ash the Preneur on TikTok.
Okay. Well, definitely, like I said, check out Ashley on all her platforms. It sounds like she's doing some great work. So you definitely want to get a front row seat for it. Slide her in the DM so she can coach you up a little bit so you get some money in your pockets too. She's been getting equity, it sounds like, since early 2000s, which is crazy.
Early 2000s.
So if you're not in the early 2000s game, you need to get like her. So again, thank you guys for checking out the episode. Look forward to helping you on your real estate journey, whether that's to be a homeowner or investor, anything in between. Again, thank you for checking us out. Peace.
Peace.